and put them into sort of messages that people who are MPs, our councillors, our government ministers can easily understand, and then take those messages away and try and improve public services for people up and down the country. No, I didn't think I was going to do this job at all. I wanted to be an architect when I was 5 years old, but I didn't think I'd do this job. I started doing my A-levels, and one of the new A-levels you could do when I was in 1997 was an A-level in politics, which is a new A-level, and it's something I thought it was different. It wasn't been available before, so I thought I'd try something new. I did my A-level in politics, and then went to university and did a degree in politics, and then that kind of led me on to doing this job. It doesn't mean you have to do politics to be involved in, engaging with ministers or MPs, but it does help. When I was coming to the end of my degree, I wasn't too sure what I was going to do. It was sort of 2000, and I thought, what do I do next? And I saw this opportunity to just go into work as an intern for an MP for sort of 6 months in London. I thought I'd like to move to London from Leicestershire. My mum and dad were very excited about me going to work in the House of Commons. I had this pass that would allow me to walk in anywhere in the House of Commons, so it was quite a good thing for my mum and dad. But for me, the first day was quite daunting. You're going to somewhere that's famous, that's on postcards, that's on. As a parliamentary researcher in the House of Commons, you're helping an MP do their job. So that is either sort of writing articles for them for the local paper, it's helping them do their briefing, writing briefings for them so they can participate in debates in the House of Commons. It's meeting people from charities to unions, from teachers all the way through to big multinational companies. One of the good things about working in Parliament for me was there is a social atmosphere. You're all researchers, you all get on, you're all a similar age, you all have similar experiences, you could just come from university. And also there are bars in the House of Commons which are quite cheap for have a drink after work, so that's quite a nice place as well. After I left working for an MP, I went to work for another government agency dealing with environmental issues. Which is really interesting. It's something that I didn't really have an interest in when I was a teenager or at university, didn't pay attention to it at all. The Audit Commission communicates sort of its messages that we find on national reports or the inspection work that we do of councils, police authorities, fire authorities and hospitals. I'll go and take the skills that I've got, the interest I've got, and go and work for this government agency. But the interest in it grew working for this Member of Parliament, and then I thought, this is something I'm interested in, it's something I care about, it's something that matters to all of us. Oh, you could come and work for us and stuff like that. That's how it kind of works. I think you can stay in a job too long sometimes, and I think I stayed working in my first ever job because I enjoyed it so much. Too long, and I didn't go out there, and I think I lost sort of maybe a year to 18 months worth of getting more experience in that short period of time. It's quite hard when you're enjoying yourself so much not to move on and to take that step and go and find another job and meet new people, which sometimes can be quite daunting, but that's something I do regret. I wouldn't have ever thought I'd be sort of working at the Audit Commission 10 years ago, so who knows? Who knows what opportunities are going to be next week? That's what interests me about working in communications, is who knows, what's going to happen in the new year. I may get a new job, may move on, take the skills I've got with me. That's what I enjoy about it. There's no, when I'm 10 years' time, I'll be 40, I'll have no idea what I'll be doing in 10 years' time. That's what interests me about it.
If you are the one defining the problem, you will also be part of drafting the solution to that problem. And that is the key element of successful public affairs and therefore public affairs strategy. Then the second part of that is packaging. And by packaging the solution, you formulate the whole solution and the whole process, and therefore you have your public affairs strategy. You need to be embedded in the policy arena or on the policy arena to really participate and to understand what's going on there.
My name is Mark Burr. I'm the Public Affairs Manager for the Audit Commission, and I work in London. The backdrop of news stories, and obviously after time you get a bit used to walking in there every day of the week to go and work, because it's a place of work. But for the first, I'd say, year, it was a particularly exciting place to work.
That gives opportunities, of course, but it also limits possibilities in a way.
My references are listed on the references page. This will conclude this week's presentation. Thanks for listening.
Public affairs is quite a wide term, covers lots of different things. But for the Audit Commission, it deals with sort of the engagement with the Audit Commission has with MPs, government ministers, civil servants, councillors. So I help. I did that for about a year or so, and this job just came up. And it's one of the things about working in London, working in this kind of environment, is it's quite a fast-moving thing. And if another job turns up and you meet people and they say,
we need to understand their business realities and put that into a context of the policy process. You can see politicians, media, editorials, opinion buildings, NGOs, etc. On a very early stage starting using social media in general. And today they are driving a lot of that. Opinions are today created instantly and needs also to be answered. It's an ongoing conversation that they participate in. And how the market is characterized is quite different if you're talking about an emerging market or a very matured market, if you're talking about a very transparent democracy, or if you're talking about something completely different.
Hello, I'm Reginald Jones, and welcome to week 3 on my series on globalization and technology for the University of West Alabama. Public affairs will be the topic of this presentation.
But it's not the only thing. More and more increasingly, you need to combine that understanding with a firm understanding of communication in general, and that specialization is increasing. That means that we need to understand the industries, the specific sectors where our client today exists.
The reasons businesses should get involved in the political process include the high economic stakes, the fact that businesses can counterbalance other social interests, businesses being vital stakeholders of government, and a pluralistic system invites many participants. These interests help a firm develop its corporate political strategy. When considering how to best manage the corporate political strategy, it is critical to examine the role of an organization's public affairs department and its staff. Activities such as lobbying with politicians, hosting company visits by political officials, and attending fundraisers all fall within the business line of the Public Affairs Department and its staff. The role of the Public Affairs Department is to manage the company's interactions with government at all levels and to promote the firm's interests in the political process. The Public Affairs Department is involved in federal, state, and local government relations. Additionally, the Public Affairs Department deals with issue management, trade association oversight, political action committees, coalitions, and grassroots activities. In conclusion, businesses should get involved with politics as many policies and regulations relate directly back to their core interests. The company's public affairs department plays the role of communicating with government and campaigning the organization's desires. Before we get to public affairs, let's discuss the relationship between politics and business. While businesses have traditionally shied away from politics in the past, companies now have the responsibility of embracing politics as a part of their business strategy in order to fully meet the needs of their stakeholders. While the department's manager provides expertise about the company's key strategies and policy decisions, associates and executives spend most of their day directly lobbying with federal or state politicians, hosting company visits by politicians, attending fundraisers, or participating in coalition building.
So that means that for us today as public affairs experts, we need to understand social media. We need to be very engaged in social media. We have parallel examples of how we've been working to set that agenda through social media. The last election, for example, is a good one where we, through what we call the job grill, put out a number of issues and questions concerning youth unemployment. The public affairs definitions